I'm on my way to Turin, Italy, and right now I'm in Dubai and the plane is taking off. It's gonna be in a 6.5 hour journey. Luckily, I have 2 window seats, so I'll let you guys know about the Lufthansa experience after I'm done with this. Bye bye Dubai, till next time. Shit, my ears are blocked. So this is our special meal. That's just one club sandwich in it. Like, if this is the only food you're getting on this plane, I'm sorry Lufthansa. Emirates, you're way good at food. Way good. Lufthansa, you gotta work about the food, dude. Currently it's 1:21 AM. My flight lands at 9:30 in Turin and I have my college at 1:30. God knows how I'm gonna make it. So far so good. We are gonna be landing in Frankfurt in literally 5 minutes.
Must be completely confused as to what is happening around. It has been days since I've reached here and I haven't vlogged out. I thought of just making 2 short vlogs. The second vlog will be up soon where I go to a new place, but right now I'm here in Turin and not this apartment, but this town itself is my house for the next 3 years. I'll just give you guys a short room tour and then we'll be soon going to a place which I also will be mentioning later. This is the main hall room, there's the kitchen and there's the TV over there. Now let's show you the other parts. Over here, there's the mirror, this is the washroom. Hi everyone. And over here, this is my room. To be noted, this is not my permanent residence, this is only my temporary residence for 2 weeks, after which I'll be shifting into a new place. Yeah, right now we'll be having a breakfast and soon we'll be going to a museum. Yes, an Egyptian museum, which is in fact the world's largest Egyptian museum outside of Egypt. So it's a big deal. This was initially not a museum. The king over here had a huge passion for Egyptian stuffs and he had a huge, like a massive collection of artifacts and stuffs from Egypt. And after his death and everything, this turned out to be a museum. This was made in museum for the public to come and watch it. Hope you guys enjoy the video and right now we're in the museum. Luckily we are allowed to record in here, so be aware this museum is filled with mummies everywhere, so might get a bit freaky and stuff. Look, the museum is pretty big, okay? It's huge. So I won't tell you all the facts about it, only the important parts of it. Okay, so these are the tickets for 3 people. One ticket costs around 15 euros. So in total 45 euros for 3 of us. So that stone that you see over there, that is actually not Egyptian at all. It was found in Rome and it is probably assumed that it was made in Rome as well. So Italy has a very good Egyptian connection to it. Okay, so this papyrus over here that you see is 18 meters long and 40 centimeters in height, and this is known to be one of the longest papyrus ever preserved. This itself is known as the Book of the Dead and it has 192 chapters in it. All of this over here in the first ground floor is among the first collection of the king. Time for us to go upstairs.
this was made by Dante Ferrati, I guess, in the year 2015. This piece of art. This is known as is used to show the river Nile, and this is the land of Egypt. Also, for every ticket you buy, you also get this guide along with you with the headphones, so you guys can have a tour of the entire museum. Okay, so these right here, these are supposed to be the tombs, and these were the primary stages of mummifying. So the people of the upper caste were buried in tombs made of wood, so it was really expensive, while the ones from lower classes were buried in tombs made of clay, and the kids were buried in baskets. So this right here is the statue of Princess Reggie, princess of the oldest dynasty of the Egyptian period. The statue that you saw back there was made out of basalt rock, which is one of the hardest rock, and this statue is about 2800 before Christ, so literally it's like 5000 years old, and it's one of the oldest rock statues in the world. And considering like they didn't have metal tools back then, it was completely carved out of rock materials, rock tools. If you see the details on the hair, the braids, and even on the eyebrows, it's just amazing how they have managed to pick up that much of detail and do that on a basalt hard rock. Over here you have a false door, which is a very characteristic feature of the tombs back then. These doors were supposed to be a connection between the living and the dead. People would keep their food on this table, and that would go as an offering to the dead world. I may have not mentioned one important thing is that Egyptians believed in afterworld life, and they believed that even after death people had to do some work. That is the reason they had this connection between the living world and the dead world. Okay, so you have a bunch of papyrus over here, and right over here you have a mummy, which might look strange to you because since it's not like a complete body, it's actually wrapped in linen. Then it used to be put in that box and mummified, because these were the early stages of mummification. So that right there is one of the tunics that was worn by a mummy, and that in fact was also worn by that mummy over there. One of the beasts of the 3 pyramids of Giza over there. So all of these over here are actually paintings that were originally in Egypt on the walls. They were cut out from there and then brought to Florence for restoration, and then brought in Turin for the preservation. These two structures that you see over here of the chief and the goddess, these two are actually made of pure pink granites. They weigh around 1.5 ton each. So that is equivalent to one SUV car, one proper car. This right here is the statue of Anan, the second priest of Ammon. Okay, now all of these statues that you see aren't actually made to just depict a structure, but they used to consider that statue itself as the complete person, and they used to worship that statue. So in fact that was like an immortal structure of that person. Like in Egyptian mythology, there are few structures which actually protect the coffins and the tombs, and those were actually true. So you have a ton of structures over here. These are all destructed, but they're recollected and joined back together. I am legit the only person over here in this floor, and this is freaking the shit out of me. This wall
over here, right here, is completely filled with people's signatures on the tombs and the exploration sites from a very early stage. So this in fact is a very generous pose of the Egyptian culture, with two hands by the side straight and the left leg being in front of the right leg. If you guys have carefully noted, this pose was also there in the structure of Anan, which was the second beast of Amen. So these over here are all different kinds of headrests, and those are the weapons. So all of these over here are somewhat small structures of mummies, of the coffins. The museum usually stays crowded, so my preferred time to you guys would be to come around 9 in the morning. That's exactly when the museum opens, and you can have the entire museum to yourself without the crowd. Right now it's like 11:30 and the museum is about to become full. Coffins, more coffins, and you have coffins all over here. Now the reason the coffins are named as sarcophagus is because the word sarcophagus means flesh eating, and the coffins are given the name of sarcophagus because they actually decompose the body of the dead. So okay, so here are the different coffins of the different people, and the names are mentioned on top of each of these covers. And over here is a secret room, I guess. It's actually locked and it's a restricted access. But if you actually look carefully, these are actually real mummies over there. This is the room which actually has two mummies over here, right over there. It's a king. These two are kings. And the mummies are actually kept there, but I actually won't show that on the vlog. Bruh. Really graphic, like my body was shivering when I went inside there. I wouldn't lie at all. But if you guys still want to have a look, that's the mummy over there, and there's another mummy over here. This sarcophagus that you see over here is actually made up of a stone named as greywack, which was very hard to work with. But if you actually see this, the details on it and the smoothness almost gives like a velvety nature to it. But this is sarcophagus of a person who was politically and economically very important at that stage. So the stone known as greywack is supposed to be a dark green color, but due to age I think it has turned to black. Had I have to be like mummified, this would have been the sarcophagus I would have chosen. So these three mummies are the mummies of the three sisters, which were daughters of the head of the temple of Amen. Have a look at the coffins. I really hope none of these mummies are cursed, because if they are, I'm dead. So these are few of the animal mummies over here. Supposedly, I think this is a dog. This is a dog as well. That's supposed to be a cow or a bull. That's a cat. I guess that's another cat. Okay, so the mummies of the very royal families were actually wrapped up in the Book of the Dead. So the few papyrus papers, the long papyrus papers that you see over there, some of them were wrapped up in mummies, so they had to be opened up and then restored. The reason you won't actually see like crystals in the eyes of the sarcophagus is because like they were stolen by the robbers back in the Egyptian era. But a few of the mummy heads that you see right over, one example right over here, they actually have a crystal right in the eye. And this head in fact is a very special one because the princess, the female mummy, chose to have a Roman kind of touch to the female head. So right over here that you see is actually a mud chapel. It's a chapel made out of mud. So the popular people actually had the mummies in 3 layers. This was the topmost layer, that is the second layer, and there used to be another cover under, in which used to be the total body. So 3 layers. So if you see carefully, that is like the chapel. That is what I meant by the chapel. Now you might ask, why are the goods left with the mummies? This is because the Egyptians believed that after the dead, the mummies actually carried these goods along with them in the dead world.
so that they don't have any problem. They actually keep all their favorite belongings with their mummies. Wow. So over here you have the different statues of the kings. So this right here is supposed to be the temple of Elysia. This was actually a temple. I actually think I should have been part of the ancient Egypt. Like, the stories of ancient Egypt are so mysterious, so magical. I just feel like I should have been a part of it.
Run.
So this is the museum shop. In case you want to buy anything from here, you have the chance to do so. So that is it for the museum. Now my only task is to find my parents and also to find my bag. So in case you're confused about the museum again, this is the museum. I'll leave the link and also the Google Maps link in the description down below, so you guys can just go and check it out. So we're right now done with the museum and we're now heading off home.